Welcome everybody. It's 2:44 on the clock. 44 is the Atlas energy. The Ten of Wands is the Atlas energy, but also in the numerology deck, 44 is very much the Atlas energy and also comes up as a lot of social work energy. It's 2:44 on the clock, so it's the two of the High Priestess along with that Four of Cups, which is also grounding, integrating, and mastering of especially receiving love. Let's go ahead first and take a few deep breaths. Another deep breath. One more deep breath. Sending a big family hug out to everybody. Lots of love and blessings. And while I have this still going, let me give you a pineal gland tuner sound as well. Okay. Hope you're all having a great day. It looks pretty beautiful out there. The sun's definitely out. It's a little bit cool, but it's not bad. And thank you all for joining me today. I so appreciate you. There's a lot of scattered stuff that came in today, but really cool information at the same time. And it always builds up to something new. So I hope that you're getting that out of that as well. Like something that you may not understand from my video one week, you may actually become illuminated by it another week that you watch, because there may be something that you experienced yourself or that came up in another video that triggered something about what I'd said before. And that's the whole point. It's all like a domino effect. It's all cumulative, just like you're the cumulative of all the days of your life into the now moment. It's the same kind of energy. So there's definitely a lot about Atlas that came up today. We're back at the Atlas and Hercules Mountains. And there's some other stuff that came up here too. So I have the Metatron message I do in the morning, which is where it took me on this little bit of a goose chase researching information. So I have that one, and then the Union and Twin Flame read, which is in front of you. We're going to roll the die first, see what comes up. And again, if there's something that you don't understand completely, just allow it to go in, and it will germinate, and something else will come up regarding it, or something at a later date even will come up. So from the dice for the Twin Flames, today is November 28th, 2021, and of course 28 is the Two of Wands, or the Twin Flames. We have Jupiter here, so expansion energy, as well as the number 9. Okay, so number 9 is the end, right? It's the completion. It is the Hermit, the Virgo energy. It's also the collective consciousness and compassion, universal selflessness, getting closure. And then here we have Sagittarius, which we're in Sagittarius right now. And it is the last of you being in Sagittarius South Node, as that's moving into Scorpio soon, I believe on the 22nd of December. So it's that last push to let go of whatever you need to release regarding Sagittarius energy. And again, the 9 is reflecting that, the ending cycle where you can't really push forward because you're still letting go of something. And then the Jupiter of expansion, which has to do with Sagittarius and what are you doing too much of, okay, that you need to let go of. So that's what's coming up from the die. And yeah, let me show you the picture of the Metatron read, and we'll get into that first, okay? So this is the Metatron read that I did this morning. Okay. And I want to pull a card from the Lenormand deck, see what comes up before we start this too. So the underlying energy from Metatron today, the read was done at 9:33 this morning, which is the Hermit, again, the 33 of the Christ consciousness. And it is Sunday today. The colors that came up were white, green, and indigo. Very interesting combination because white is the diamond energy of the crown was coming up. The emerald was coming up with the heart. And then the third eye, tanzanite, was coming up for me today. It can be amethyst. So those three colors, and diamond really representing the purity of the light, the emerald of the healing heart, and then the tanzanite or the, what was I just saying? The other purple one. I lose my words sometimes. I had a bad concussion in 16, so I have trouble retrieving really easy words sometimes, so. So let's see, from the Lenormand Reverie, what is the energy of this message I'm about to bring you from the Metatron deck? Oh. That one came right out. It was kind of like splat. All right, this is cutting the wheat from the chaff, right? How to separate, how to discern. The 10 is also the number of the Wheel of Fortune and that high vibration. Also computer code. So again, that goes along the lines of the Sagittarius and the South Node. You know, what do we need to cut out that's too much? Like the too much information here, right? That needs to be leveled down a notch, right? So that it's more understandable. So, yeah, that's definitely the energy coming up here. The bottom of the deck is the, the power woman. So as opposed to the loving woman, this is more of the power woman, the 29 of being present in the moment with their gifts, okay? And she's looking out the window at the well, which is the 41, which is self-love, spiritual love, and new love, but also diving deep into your deep waters to bring out what needs to be cleared. And that can have, that can be representative of the South Node too, right? Because we're going very deep down. All right, so this Metatron read, the underlying energy was the first underlying energy card was white, then transformation, and then endings. So again, a repeat of what I was just talking about. Pure innocence, diamond and wings of the King of Swords energy, conflicted by light and dark. Receiving light, with dark standing right behind them, and it's like someone saying, can others actually see my shadow? Like, because there's so much light on me, it's casting a shadow behind them. Or am I all shadow, standing in another's light? Ending at sunset every day, the family on the horizon, the sunset, reflecting that you are always held in the end of every day. And in grieving or letting go. See the beauty in the sun going down, right? Don't let the sun go down on me. So whether it's Elton or whatever it is for you, it always references something sad, right? The sun going down. But they're saying to see the beauty in the sun going down. The light is beautiful, but so is it when the light's fading or going into the nothingness, which is the feminine energy. Every day when the sun goes down, we grieve that the light is going away. But the light is beautiful, but it is as well when the light is fading into that nothingness, into that good night. So the first card out for the read was green, which is 39, which is the Knight of Cups, of being love. It's that active being of love. It is also an offer of love, or can be. But green is also all about the healing heart. The heart is the green chakra, but green is also the color of physical healing. And so we go into this read. And already my voice is a little bit crackly because there's a lot of wounding for the twins in the heart. Okay, for me, a lot, because I dealt with a lot. Some other people may have other chakras that are more clogged up than their heart chakra, but for me, I know that I've had a lot of heart issues because I did a lot of healing with people dying. So heart healing definitely coming up here as the HH of the heart and healing, which, I always talk about the H. The capital H is like the lap dance of the two chairs being stacked on top of each other. And that is the 3D version of the 5D 8-8 of the dance of the crazy eights. The Emerald Knight of Cups to the root of all evil, the AI green stuff, or money. Focusing on the organic green, Mother Nature, and grounding, and the ice cube is coming up here too, the subconscious. And this was really cool, because then they took me back to the 11 qubits that came up the other day from when I was dividing 144 by 7, because 144 came up and I was wondering, did all numbers go into it? And obviously you look at it and you realize right away that 5 doesn't go into 144. And the only numbers that don't go into 144 are 5 and 7. So I'd asked why and divided them to see what the number did come out to. And the 5 came out to 28.8, which is like the dance of the crazy eights of the 2 8s. And then the 144 divided by 7 came out to that 20.571428. And you wonder why I remember that number is because I always break it down into numbers that I know. So the 20, of course, is judgment. 57 is the 3 of swords. 14 is the angels, or the temperance card. And the 28 is the twins. So it made a lot of sense to me. And that breakdown will come up in the read as well. But there was something about the ice cube too, like why is this card? I'm going to show you the card. Because it was the same card I told you I looked up the other day in the book. Because I'm always looking for more meaning in it, like what was the author trying to say? And so, or the artist, whoever drew the picture. So I'm going the wrong way in my deck because I put it in order so I'd be able to get to the cards in case I wanted to pull anything out. Where are ya? Yeah, this one. All right, so obviously it's like the farm fields and there's ice on there, and I've definitely gotten downloads about ice in the future, finding ways of using ice in order to accelerate crop growth. But I was asking again, why is the cube coming up? And again, you might want to get this picture too of the emerald heart. You really feel that emerald color. And there's the endings card of the sunset and your family reflecting back at you. And just feel the beauty of that compassion coming back at you. So the ice cube was coming up, and the 144 was coming up again as well. And what happened when I divided the 144 by 7 and got that 20.571428, I looked up that number because it's a long number. I'm like, is it significant in any way? And the only place I found it was in a conversion to cubits. And it ended up being the length of the queen's tomb in the pyramid in cubits as opposed to inches. And it was 11. So that 20 point whatever is 11 in cubits. So very significant there. So it came back up again. And the 11 qubits, which is at 20.571428, and it repeats over and over again, 571428, keeps going to an infinitum. And like I said, it's the length of the queen's chamber, aligned with inches, 11 is alignment, of the 20 of judgment, the 57 of heartbreak, but then the 14 of the patient angel and a higher love, along with the twin flame path of 28. In waves, or in other words, that section of numbers repeating each other over and over and over again. The 144 divided by 7. So for some reason I was being guided to further break down other numbers. So if I know the conversion, that if I wanted to find out if that 20.57 is 11 qubits, then what was 144, and I had what was 144 on its own. And this was really interesting because 144 comes out to 77 on the dot. That's pretty significant. So the conversion of 144 into the cubits, the length of the Queen's tomb, was 77, which is the sovereign energy. So I did the same with the number 7 to see what it converted to. And 7 converted to 3.714, I'm losing my voice because I had trouble getting definitions for that number. But it was just looking at it for me, I like the 3.743 number because it's the 743 that I was talking about. The Emperor and the Empress of the 3 and the 4, which are 7. 3-7 is the King of Cups, unconditional love. So we have the King of Cups as well as the 743, which is very significant because 7 is the otherworldly number, and the 43 is the 3 of Cups of coming together, and we have the King of Cups here too. It's just a really cool number, but it's not just 3.743, it's 05555 to infinitum, all right? So after this initial number, it goes 0 and then 5's forever. And 5 is all about change and expansion, right? It's the middle of the numbers, the middle road. And it always ends to the upper side, right? Because it rounds off up. So again, the 20.571428 is 11 cubits. So the 20 in inches becomes 11 cubits, which is the measurements they used when they were making the pyramids. 144 is 77 in cubits, and the number 7 is 3.74305 to infinity in cubits. So for some reason, so I looked up the 3.743 to see if it came up for anything, and it did come up as 1 stone per cubic foot to ounce per US pint, and that was the conversion number. So, and you know, of course, 77 divided by 7 is that 11 again. And so again, the 144 inches divided by 7 is the 20.571428, which converts to 11 cubits, which equals 77 cubits divided by 7. So for some reason, they were guiding me to add the 3.743055 to infinitum times 2. Because for me, it was very close to the 3.5 plus 3.5 that equals 7. So for some reason, I added them together, which became 7.48611 to infinitum. So 7.48611, I looked that up, and the first thing that came up was Case L series backhoe, loader, electrical, hydraulic, schematic. It's a set manual, number 7-48611 download. And I love that it was Case L for love and a backhoe loader because it was reminding me of the kind of equipment that they'll use to clean the ocean water for some reason. Which also, we talked about getting free electric too by going underground with, geothermal warmth. And so that was coming up again. But also a map quest came up, and I'm like, why is a map quest coming up with this number? So I opened it, and the center of the picture is Morocco. And you know I always refer back to Morocco and the Garden of Eden, and also the olive trees that grow in the desert there. So I was guided definitely back to Morocco here. And also it came up under 7.486 was what is the angular acceleration of the wheel correct, or a correction. So there's a mathematical equation coming up here. And there was a picture of it too, of a wheel with a kind of like a slash, a backslash above the wheel, and then a horizontal line after the wheel, which was labeled as capital F. The backslash was labeled as lowercase r. And then the wheel looked just like a sun representative, just like in the dice. It's a circle with a dot in the middle, and that was labeled as lowercase m. And the equation was A equals, for those of you who are math people, A equals capital TR over capital I equals 7.48611 N, capital N, which for me is code for Christ, times 0.56 lowercase m over 0.784 kilograms per lowercase m squared, which equals 5.34722 rad or RAD slash 7 to the power of 2. Excuse me, S to the power of 2. So that was the equation that came up under that number. What also came up under that number was the conversion density, and this was from aquacalc.com. The first one was from CourseHero.com. This one came up from aquacalc, CALC.com. And this was stones per cubic decimeter, 2 troy pounds per metric teaspoon. Very interesting. So 7481111 equaled 88 stones per cubic decimeter. So that was so cool because the 88 is the dancing twins, the crazy eights. And then pounds per US gallon also came up in density. The 7.4861111 equals 56 pounds per cubic foot. So it's just really interesting that this number, came up as very significant in conversions. Also 0.008 came up as pounds per cubic foot, equaling 7.4861111 grain per US gallon. And then I looked up the 3.7431 again, and it came up as a color, like the RBG colors or whatever the codes are for different color schemes. This color scheme was Y, capital Y, lowercase XY, and this was from convertingcolors.com. But in an upper table, there was also one that was XYZ, but the 3.7431 was the capital Y in both of them and the Y in the road. So it was really cool what was coming up. So I go back to the read at 1101, Justice and the Magician, the loving, healing Emerald Heart, and the Mother Earth of mathematical equations today, coming up from the subconscious, because there may have been some of the stuff that you dealt with in ancient lives, right? But coming up in cubes. So I asked what the ice cube was for, so I got more cubic measurements. The Hermit is about taking action today and moving your body. And I was getting the energies of you have just flipped, like your timeline just inverted and you're going back the other way, but in a good way. It wasn't like you're going backwards. It's the timeline flipped. So you're going back the other way in a good way, in a whole new direction. It was very interesting the way it came up. Running back to where you once belong. I got a very strong connection there at 1105, which is justice and the Hierophant, or freedom, expansion, change. Across the farm fields of Kansas to the Emerald City, as the beacon shines its light and rays upon that Emerald City, like the movie projector light showing heaven on earth, like I'm in heaven. And the Atlas Mountains in Morocco came up, because Morocco came up as the maps. That's why they were bringing that up again. And Hercules. And then for me, Constantine always comes up because it's my father's name. And there's a lot of association with Constantine there. And the Rock of Gibraltar coming up here, where Africa and Spain meet in England and get booted to us, or the US. Okay? So where Africa and Spain meet is where the two mountains are, right? So there's the Pillars of Hercules is supposed to be one of two mountains and the Rock of Gibraltar. But there's one group who believe there were three pillars, and I believe the same thing. So the two that they don't know which one is the pillar, it's because they're both pillars. One is Atlas, the Atlas Mountains in Morocco. The other one is in Ceuta, which is actually Spain territory, which is Hercules for me. And then they are the gateway that face the Rock of Gibraltar, which is the peak of the triangle, okay, which is pointing towards England, right, because Rock of Gibraltar is English territory, which then points to the United States, which is the Strait of Gibraltar, which points to the United States because England went to the United States, right? It's where we came from. So, and Spirit's connecting with me on that, confirming that to you. So the Atlas Mountains in Morocco, Hercules in Ceuta, but also Constantine was coming up, and that'll come up again in a second, and the Rock of Gibraltar, where Africa and Spain meet England and get booted by the boot of Italy to us in the Strait of Gibraltar, straight to the United States. Morocco to Egypt, where Egypt was coming up as E got gypped. So Morocco to where Egypt, and then Syria coming up as the Sirius constellation, and then Kuwait was coming up, no, you wait, instead of Kuwait, no, you wait, and then Iran, oh man, ye men, yea men. And then Ethiopia was coming up, and Kenya, and Tanzania, and go, la, 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 all the way home. So it was like taking me down, right, to, the, when you're doing the piggy toes thing, all the way home. Back up to the top again. So Africa with Morocco and Europe with Spain kissing cousins like North America does with South America. And also Italy boot is like the Florida key, right? Because Florida's in the shape of a key with lots of keys on it. And connected to Argentina and the Falkland Islands down at the bottom, like South Africa would be for Africa. So then I was guided to grbslibrary.duke.edu regarding Constantine's religion. It was just an article that had popped up. So I went in there. It talked about the co-emperors, and I'm sorry if I don't say the names right, because I probably will not. The co-emperors of Diocletian is the Priestess Jupiter, which is Jupiter. And then Maximian Imperator, right, the emperor in another language, Hercules. So it's bringing up Jupiter and Hercules, basically. On March 1st, 293 was when the Jupiter energy appointed Constantius and Galerius Caesaris, or the Caesars, and arranged for both to be adopted by the two Augusti as Herculeus or Constantius. So there's a connection here between Hercules and Constantine. And then also Iovius, which is Galerius. So the Caesars shared the divine patronage of the Augusti as four co-emperors over the Earth tetrarchy, which was called a Goddard tetrarchy. I like that, right? So it has the arch in it and the tetra, as in the tetragrammaton of the four. But Goddard is Gotter, and then tetra, and then Rchie. So that's the tetrarchy is called that, with Mars as patron of Galerius and Sol, or the sun, the conservator of Constantius. So it referenced three inscriptions from an area in North Africa. And then I got distracted because there was a squirrel outside my door making the weirdest noise. It was like horrendous. And like he was really sick or something bad had happened. So I went out, and I also wanted to check out if there was any seed left, because I put seed out again yesterday, but it's totally gone. And I stood at the door there for a minute, and he didn't notice me. I don't know why, because his eye was like looking right at me. But he didn't get scared away. He just kept calling, but it was the weirdest squirrel call. And then when I opened the door, finally he realized I was there, and he left. I thought he was hurt or something. And that was at 11:37 to 39. Maybe it was a love call, I don't know. So then I go back to what I was looking at, and the chart showed Constantine. It was like a chart of population in these different areas or different groupings of gods, right, or emperors. And Constantine was mostly under Mars and Sol, which is the sun. So Constantine's coming up as, and Sam the Illusionist just reported that the 144 were coming from Mars to Sirius to be the ones coming to the Earth to help, bring the energy to the light. So here Constantine was coming up as Mars and the sun, and then Hercules was coming up as the Earth, which of course Hercules carries the Earth on their shoulders, and then Jupiter as the Diocletians. I don't know how to pronounce that. The Diocletians. And the Caesar numbers were very low across the board, so it didn't feel significant there. So I was getting like the constant, like they were showing us the three groups that are coming in here, right? The Mars Sun group, which is Sirius also, right? The Constantine groups, and then the Jupiter group, which we do hear a lot about Jupiter because that's where the, not the Galactic Federation, that's the mother spaceship, but the, I'm just blanking out on it, but you know, there's another base on Jupiter that's of the light. Anyway, there's mixed populations everywhere still, but Hercules was coming up as the Earth, representing the Earth, that group. So I looked into it a little bit more, but coinweek.com came up about coins because there were some pictures of the coins, Herculean pillars coins. So I wanted to look in there to see if there's any random information that I might not find anywhere else. So the horse picture was coming up on the coins, which is related to the Carthage because their main god was the Baal, which is represented often by the horse, Baal or Haman. So most of the Carthages, which is Iberian, most of their gold came from the Spanish mines because Rome had already taken the mines in Austria and the other areas nearby. They also sourced gold from the west coast beyond the Pillars of Hercules. The earliest was of the Electrum coins, so that was the coins they were talking about, but I like that they were the Electrum coins, which is very electric energy. And coins is another word for co-hands or the co-pilots. The electric co-pilots, the Pillars of Hercules. And the Gates of Gades were coming up here as well. So produced by the Carthages around 350 BCE, the Iberian mines were not captured until 241 BCE. So again, the mountains that I talked about, Jebel Musa is the Moroccan mountain, and Monte Hacho is in Ceuta, which we would consider the Hercules mountain. There's also other pillars that Spain considers, they're man-made pillars, but they consider them the true pillars of Hercules. So one version is that Hercules built the two pillars to hold up the sky away from the earth, liberating Atlas from their damnation. And Plato had placed Atlantis beyond the Pillars of Hercules, right? So the place where nobody is supposed to go, right? Because that would be a scary place. So that was very interesting because for me, the Atlas energy is the masculine and the Hercules energy is the feminine, right? Her, Q, it's like, at last my love has come along. So that's the Atlas energy, and then the Hercules is her, and it's like I get Achilles heel, but also Hercule, right? Hercule, to let go of one holding the other up or holding the whole earth up, and why don't they share it instead, right? Instead of one having to hold the whole weight of the world. But there was an energy too about, well, was Hercules actually the earth, the masculine representation of earth? And so that came up as well. So then I went on trying to figure out if this worked out puzzle-wise. And then another set of pillars came up of Melkart, which is so funny because the abbreviation is like a milk quart. It's Melkart is M-E-L-Q, is it Q-U-A-R-T? Or just Q-A-R-T, I forget. But it abbreviates just like the Tetragrammaton as M-L-Q-R-T, which literally translates to milk quart, which cracked me up. But that actually meant king of the city, and again it referenced Baal, or El, which is the horse, and the lord of Tyre, also seen as Hercules. So Hercules, or this Melkart, is the son of Baal. Okay, so when Hercules was on his way to the garden of Hesperides on the island of Erythea, or the Red One, Hercules has to cross the mountain that was Atlas, but decided instead to smash it to smithereens so that he would then connect the Atlantic to the Mediterranean Sea and form the Strait of Gibraltar. That was one story. Gibraltar and, again, the Monte Hacho and the Jebel Musa mountains. So they're representing England, Morocco, and Spain. Okay. So Munich Melkart, it's Q-A-R-T. And the Phoenician god, the temple of Tyrian Heracles, or Hercules, were the two bronze pillars, each 8 cubits high. So here's the cubits coming up again, but they're 8 cubits, which is the dance of the twins, and they're twin pillars in cubits here with the 11, thought by some to be the true pillars of Hercules. The Syrian scholars say that they were the ones who said there was 3, not 2 pillars, from the cause of all causes. So from AmuraWorld.com, A-M-U-R-A World.com, about the pillars of Hercules, they were listing, there was a picture of the 12 laborers behind other pictures of Hercules holding up the two pillars. And I wasn't so much looking at the picture of the 12 laborers, but there was a list of what they were required to do, and it was totally reminding me of what the process of what's been happening with our world. But it was like Hercules had to, and Hercules, remember, is supposed to be, if it's the feminine energy, what she would have to overcome to get her rightful place back in the world. And the things that they had to get rid of were, the first of the 12 labors were to get the skin of the Nemean lion, which I was referencing to the Romans. And also the second one was to kill the Hydra, which was reminding me of the machines underneath Switzerland and France right now. It's the Hydra of the multi-heads, which is the Venetians, right? That Trump was supposedly cut off the head of the dragon, basically, that all the Venetian families that went down. The third section is to capture the Cyrenian hind, which I was getting as, it was the hind, the Stymphalian birds, and Erythmantian boars. So here the animals were coming up of the hind, the birds, and the boar, but I was getting these as religions. It was coming up as like Hindu Thoth of the birds, which may be alternative belief systems, and then the boar of the English traditional, what did I write? The Anglo-Saxon, right? So that references the English traditional Christian religions. The fourth section here was then to capture the Cretan bull, the horses of Demetes, and the cattle of Geryon, which I was getting as the bull being the resistance, the horses being the ascending, because I always get the horses as God, as Mr. Ed, and then the cattle as the XO, the ox, of the human twins dancing. Okay, so the 3 categories are the resistance, those ascending, and then the twins, the 144,000 that were coming up. The 5th one was coming up as securing the girdle of the Amazon queen, Hippolyte or Hippolytes, I don't know how that's, but of course then Amazon comes up, right? Taking down Amazon, and then to steal the golden apples, which then was coming up as Apple. And then the 7th one was to capture Cerberus, the guard dog, or Hades, which is so funny because before this I was looking at the map that came up of the world, and the United States looks like a dog. I was trying to see, because I look at negative spaces and the positive spaces to see if there's actually any pictures coming up like I do in the clouds. And the United States is the only clear thing that actually looks like a dog, and we are the mutts, right? We came from the royals and we're the mutts. It's like the 7th step is to take the guard dog down, the U.S. and Trump. All right. So it's very interesting the way this is coming up for me, because I don't really think politically normally. And that was all coming up from Hercules. So, and there's a lot about Spain here too, because all of the energy around these other pillars have to do with Spain as opposed to Africa. So again, Hercules equating to earth as a feminine, to take down in order to take her power back, is to take down the head of the lion, the Romans, the Venetians of the multiple heads, or the Phoenicians, then the religion, the Hindi, the Thoth, and the Christian religions, the 4th of the bull, the horses, and the cattle, or the resistance, the ascending, and the dancing humans, the 5th of the Amazon, the 6th of the apple, the 7 of the guard dog of the U.S. Very cool how that was coming up. Yeah, I'm wondering if that information will come up for me in another way at some time. It might. So go back to the read, go back to the Emerald City at 124, which is the Magician and the Queen of Wands, to assess qubits. So, of course, Morocco and Atlas came up, and Suta, Hercules, and the Rock of Gibraltar, which, by the way, Gibraltar was coming up as the altar of GI and BR, which is of the dog and the Brits. How do you like that? GI, one of the definitions is dog, and BR doesn't necessarily come up as a definition of Brits, but if I see BR, the first thing I thought of was Brits. So it's the dog and the Brits, altar, right, of the going from England to the United States, pointing to England, and then the Strait of Gibraltar that also points to the U.S., the pillar of strength, the reflecting of pink willows reaching out to each other, like the two fingers, reaching out to each other. This from Spain to Morocco and Mexico to South America, from Canada to Russia or Russian Federation, and all of this comes up as outwardly touching and reaching out. However, England to U.S. is an internal reaching out. The royals and the mutts, the bridge at Morocco and Spain, Atlas and Hercules, and the rock leading to Plymouth, or plying the mouth open. Free speech. And then the address came up. I put in the Weeping Willows to see if there was anything that came up there regarding an association to a country. And all that really came up was this address for Florida. 7400 Weeping Willow Boulevard in Sarasota, Florida, 34241. And there's the 34 coming up again. And the sale was pending for the house that came up. Clarity of the shadow, go within. And then back to Akashic Records and evaluating and review to see new perspective on the Atlas's role on shining light on the Emerald City or the royal lineage here. Connecting the inner child about Atlas and free speech, where land meets sea, and messages in a bottle to the free land, dolphin water, and Florida, expanding crystalline energy. Of course, Hawaii can come up with the dolphins as well, but expanding crystalline energy and emotional well-being of the chariot being the vehicle and the friendly social connections, right? The way in. That balance is needed for the King of Wands here, between the left and the water, which is the feminine side, and the right of the fire dragon coming up here in the sun, going with the flow and wingspan resistance, domination and territorial here on the masculine side of the Lemurians versus the Atlanteans, and meeting in the middle, the Bermuda Triangle perhaps, where the west meets the east in we, the abdication of the throne, where we throw away our poop, the throne. At 148, which is the Magician and the Eight of Cups walking away and within. So at 150 is then the Magician and the Ten of Cups of the happy family, emotional fulfillment. I stopped to do a clearing. And right after I was finished doing the clearing, they were sending me a message of horse poop, because I was just equating the throne with poop. And then God was just equating Mr. Ed's poop and helping me clear. It was really funny. Indigo complete in contemplating the mysteries of life and family circles of life, of self-satisfaction and getting your wish. Thanksgiving every day in abundant universe of synchronicities and choices in heaven in your eyes. There's much compassion here. Abundant creators, the flowers you are, the Page of Cups innocence of pure evolution, of birthing the new in the heart and womb of the cup. Remember the cup we talked about yesterday. To go with the flow of the 42, the two cups as one, and paddle on down the river of life. The underlying energies were all about pure light and love, that you are held always and every day as the sun goes down. The first section was all about the Emerald City and the Atlas Rock, the beacon for the heart. Remember, the Atlas is also, it holds up the head and was equated with the cup holding up your heart yesterday. That holds the heart, and the stem goes into the root for Akashic Records, the Book of Love, and Lemuria, dolphin water. The second section here was the cube and the measure or Cuban connection, because Bermuda is connected in Cuba. So we have Puerto Rico is right next to Cuba. By the way, Bermuda and Cuba match. The one's much bigger than the other, but the shape of them match very much so. They reflect each other. And here's the Bermuda Triangle here, from the Florida Keys to Puerto Rico, at the Cuban area right there, and then to Bermuda. The pink willows reflecting love and compassion. It's like the cube is like two roofs, or hanging shingles, right? Hanging a shingle is the roof over a business or something like that. But it's the two roofs or two households, two countries who come together in a cubit. Square measurement. One multiplied by itself exponentially grows with mother's love and Atlas as the inner child, the womb, where two come together as womb, as the mother and child, when the King of Wands is out of balance, and they need balance here. So the third section of the read was all about take 9, like you're doing your 9th take here at 201, which is the High Priestess and the Magician. Take 9, go within for clarity. Are you sitting on an ice cube? In this picture, it looked like she was sitting on an ice cube. Go within for clarity of the shadow, or the coldness is the feminine, with communication, not only by writing it, by speaking up and being heard from the solar plexus. Sun, solar is sun. That is your inner dragon within, where the land meets the sea, the cold within and the hot without. Make your presence or gifts known. Little did your family know this little indigo child was a fire-breathing dragon beneath it all, and being with a family who loves you anyway for all that you are, at 206, which is the High Priestess and the Lovers. A really beautiful mix. So let's go into the, I love that information that was coming through. So please comment below. Let me know if anything came up for you when that stuff came up. And please let me know if you tried out the cup. I know, Sonia from 10 of Cups Ministry, I know she always used to use the cup, but I wasn't thinking of her at all when I received this download. It was totally separate, and it wasn't about using the same mode of meditation, but they wanted me to do it very specifically for a reason. So putting the cup and just sitting on that cup in your solar plexus to connect to Christ was trying to show you your streamlined connection of your dragon self, your higher self, your direct connect to Christ. And it wasn't about connecting to Jesus per se, but Jesus is the template of the twin flame unions. And Jesus is the templating of the divine masculine. So you are connecting with God through that representation, which is why Jesus is at the head when you go from your cup into the etheric realms to connect with Source. So that was the first one, because they want you to connect with that dragon energy of the sun, of your solar plexus. It's holding your heart, right? It's the protection. It's the atlas that holds your head, right? With the axis below. And so that's why they took the seat of the cup down to your root chakra, because that's the seat of it. That's the grounding place, the place, the place of all evil, where it comes from. All your fears started from your root chakra. So it's really showing you how to clear from your solar plexus down to your root, right? Because the red, orange, yellow is where most of our wounds are. So do those 2 separate meditations. One is just focusing on that chalice in your solar plexus, and then connecting your light in a straight shot, straight up through your crown, to connect with the Golden Gate and Jesus welcoming you there. The second one was connecting with that same cup in your solar plexus, but then putting an emerald in the cup, and then the emerald becomes your heart that the cup is holding, because it's in your solar plexus as the atlas, and then the root, being the axis that holds up the atlas, right, because they work in a pair, becomes the root, like the gate holders, right, of the feminine and the masculine gate holders of the root and the solar plexus holding up the heart. And then see what came of that. So the second one, I was guided to focus on the root, and when I did them today, the first one was really cute that came up. The second one, when I focused on the root, it was really just more, they were just trying to get me to do some healing down there because I have a back injury. But the first one, when I focused on the cup at my solar plexus and then connecting to the Golden Gate, right away, so yesterday it was Jesus came down and was all of a sudden hammering all around my solar plexus to fix things. But today, he just right away whisked down the tunnel and yanked me up with him, threw me up in the air, and then I thought he was gonna hug me, but instead he looked like he was gonna hug me. He did it on purpose. Then he whisked me around and pinned me down on the floor like a very aggressive Atlas would do, because it was coming up as that Atlas energy. And I said to him, you know, I'm really not into giving up my free will to be pinned on the floor. But I said, I am free to love. And by the way, I have a technical drawing of a pin if you want to see it. It was really funny. And he would then all of a sudden, like instead of being that really powerful Atlas and like throwing you down on the ground, all of a sudden he really fell back into his loving heart. And I said, can we try this again? So he's like, okay. So I go back to my cup again and we do it again. And I didn't know if the same thing would happen over again, but yeah, all of a sudden he comes right down and pulls me right up, but he throws me up in the air, and then I fall down and we hug in an equal hug. It was really beautiful. Yeah, it was a really nice energy. So please comment below if you tried it out, and I want to know what came up for you with both meditations, focusing on the solar plexus to the Golden Gate, and also focusing on the cup with the emerald and the heart sitting in it, going down to the root, focusing the cup base falling into the root, and then just sitting there at the root to see what comes up. And let me know if you tried that or not. I'd really appreciate it, because I haven't gotten any feedback on that. So I would appreciate it, you guys. All right, so the union read. All right, so here's the union read. Okay, we have the 4D, 5D, 6D, the feminine on the left, masculine on the right, bridge between them in the middle, incoming divine feminine, outgoing divine masculine, the underlying energies and the closing energies of the Emperor, who's called the Reason card in this deck. So this read was at 5:55 to 6 last night. So the 555 and then the 56, so the truth, and then going into the 2 of Swords, which is being in your knowing and keeping your energy clear, or perhaps pretending not to know. The starseed was the underlying energy, and then the 3 of Cups in the center, Reason, or the Emperor, was the final card. Excuse me. And a fresh start with big incoming, coming together with the Emperor, perhaps with reasoning. And I kept getting seasoning as well, maybe more seasoned. The incoming divine feminine with the 9 of Cups, 9 of Swords, and the Tower energy, being self-satisfied or feeling satisfied with self, with service from the 9 and 6 rays of Mary Magdalene, and then hiding out of harm's way of the shadow on the wall. Too light, too dark, and an epiphany hits the mark as Michael comes in with far-reaching connections and sudden events. So Archangel Michael is coming up here. And although Michael comes up, with Metatron a lot for me, I don't individually get that much from Michael. I get more from Metatron. But he was coming up very specifically today, just him. So the 4D here was coming up as Justice, the Queen of Pentacles, and the 7 of Pentacles. The divine feminine in the keyhole, ringing the dinner bell, out of sight of divine justice. The divine masculine and the divine feminine's heart at the E-tower of epiphanies coming in, he working out the puzzle pieces and bridging with the Queen of Pentacles, whose coin or co-hand, co-pilot is fading away. The 5D here is the 2 of Wands, the 3 of Cups, and the 4 of Swords. The divine feminine twin flames high above the world, seeing the bigger perspective, as the divine masculine's in his shadow, thinking on the sand, or on break, or taking a rest perhaps. Bridging with the 3 of Cups, reunion, or group, or social hour, or function. As in the 6D is the 8 of Swords, the 2 of Cups, and the 3 of Pentacles, the divine feminine hiding in the woods by the creek. And remember, in the 6D, there wouldn't be anything low vibrational here, but you're also manifesting in the 6D. So what comes up in the 6D, what may be what you're manifesting, as opposed to what's in the 6D. The divine feminine's hiding in the woods by the creek with blinders on, feeling their way, or playing hide and seek with self. The Divine Masculine at Trinity at the Gingerbread House, bridging in the Two of Cups hearts, the two as one hearts, under the archway or Archer's Gate, which I keep bringing up for me as the 12-12 gate, in the Garden of Ease Den. The outgoing Divine Masculine is the Ten of Pentacles, the Chariot, and Abundance, or the Empress card. As the Ten of Pentacles, family, business, or community is making a trip to the Empress, with the Emperor throwing her a bone, or his artificial hand, or perhaps his arthritic hand, or somebody looking for a message from their deceased partner, or the Empress wanting to manifest her Emperor or her match. The Divine Feminine is coming up as justice for twins and release. The Divine Masculine coming up as the Divine Feminine's heart, connecting in the 5D to co-create Trinity, or try a show of power and gratitude. The bridge of the Queen of Pentacles coming together with the Two of Cups partner, or the third of three, as the Divine Feminine with Aries, Scorpio, and Libra on their side, along with the twin flames, and the Divine Masculine with Cancer, Taurus, and Aries on their side, with the Divine Feminine's heart, and the Ten of Pentacles, family, business, or community, along with the matriarch. Nine of C, of the C, and nine of the C, seeing with your eyes, and the Christ consciousness, but also the Tower, and there she blows I was getting, of 10 of cry, or a family could be purging, and the cha, abundance, the cha-cha. So, and again, the dance of the crazy eights. The overall number here is the 57 of the Three of Swords. So there definitely could be a separation here or some kind of disappointment. And the horizontal pillars came up to 13, 9, and 35, which is Death, the Hermit, and the Wounded Warrior, or Nine of Wands. The vertical pillars came up to 9 and 9, which are both the Hermit. The 0, that can also be Agent 99. 0 comes up as Source Energy. 10 of the Wheel of Fortune. 5 of the Hierophant. 14 of the Temperance card. 10, again, another wheel. And then another double zeros here. So the message came up as the end of the Hermit and the Wounded Warrior in separation. But also 2 Hermits, or Agent 99, that can be a spy as well, sourcing destiny of freedom in the angel realms of a higher vibration, and that was at 702. There could be in the realms of high vibrational heartbreak, right? Which isn't really heartbreak, it's to expand the heart in order for the heart to become bigger. The spy with space for high vibrational marriage to patient angel destined to have a lot of space in separation. And the numbers here were coming up as 990 versus 1,000, which is somebody's like arguing a very small amount. There could be battling over how much of one thing one person gets and another person gets. You know, it's getting like, it's like somebody wants all of it. And maybe the other one's saying, well, why don't you just give me 10 out of 990? And they're saying, no, I want 1,000% in separation here. So then we have the read in front of you, which is, where'd it go? Oh, going the wrong way. So I'm going back to where you once belonged. See, there's a flip here. So here is the read in front of you. I'm going to turn the light on here. Okay, so this is the Syrian Starseed deck as well. Syrian Starseed deck as well. And then here is the full read in front of you, the 7-deck read. For those of you not familiar, they're both general readings. The union read is more about the union, the physical union. This is more about general energies for all the twins. Okay, and the 7 decks are, because I don't say it every time, but we have the Rider-Waite Mini, we have the Romance Angels, the Tarot Sexual Magic, the Numerology deck. We have the Gilded Tarot over there, and we have the Universal Golden over here, and we pull Oracle cards at the end as well. All right, so for this read, I cut the deck at 710, which is 0 behind 71, which is the 3 of Pentacles, the co-creation card for me. And at 720, the codes Department of Chalices came up, as well as Halices. So again, that references the hydro or whatever Alice machine that's under Switzerland and France. That was coming up again. It was one of the pieces of equipment. But Halices, and also the Department of Chalices. So, right, the Department of Emotions and Heartfelt Things. at 7:20. So there's the 72 again, which came up on the other page. The 7 of the Chariot, the 20 of Judgment, but also the 72 is the 4 of Pentacles, which is being practical and more moderate, or saving and being grounded. It can be hoarding, but it just depends on the energies that it's with. The read and the clarifications were finished at 7:35, which is the 7 of the Chariot, the 35 of the Wounded Warrior, the 9 of Wands. And the major arcana for this read were Karma, which is the Judgment card, Reason, which is the Emperor, Shadow, which is the Devil, and Solar Deity, which is the Sun. Before the read is Transition and Tower. Transition is the Death card. And after the read, the Higher Self, or High Priestess, came up. There were 3 swords, 2 pentacles, 1 wand, and 1 cup. So we have 3211 there, which is the Journeyman, the 6 of Swords, the 6 of Wands. So both of them could be coming up with this, because that's peace. But the 6 of Wands, and then the 11 of Justice, which we talked a lot about the 11 in the message that came up today, which is also alignment. We have the Page of Pentacles and the Knight of Cups in the read as the main players. And then the Knight of Wands came up before the read, and the Queen of Swords and King of Swords came up together after the read. We had triple sixes today. It's a lot of sixes, which is all about love, family, and community. And the 6s of the DNA, right? Each grouping adds to 6. Of the 6, then 15, and then the 24 and the 33, the 4 sections of DNA. And we had double ones as well. So Justice came up again, and the 11 of Alignment. Love, family, and community, a lot of that with the 6s. 34 is the 8 of Wands, and 67 is the Knight of Pentacles, the Loyal Humble Servant. The 8 of Wands is the Hours of Love as well. And then 46 of the 6 of Cups, the Children in the Garden. And then 45 of the 5 of Cups, the Purging card. 56 of the 2 of Swords, being in your knowing and keeping to yourself. And 13 of the Death or Transition card came up. And 16 of the Tower. So the code line here today was all about nature, surrender, and pride. And surrender was broken up into sue and render. So somebody might be having a rear ender, and there may be a lawsuit involved. But again, nature, surrender, and pride. And the message was very short today. It was double A's were coming up, so that's going to be double A batteries and double A things, Archangels, Alcoholics Anonymous, American Airlines. So all of those things came up here with the number 7 as the main number on the code line today. And the 7 is the Chariot, which is also the feminine within the masculine, the vehicle of ascension and the vehicle of infiltration. So the messages come up as this. Perhaps the double A's of the 7 or the Chariot or the divine feminine within the masculine. I was just getting baseball too. Like minor leagues energy. That's coming up. But the divine feminine within the masculine and the energy of saying yes. That there may be a reason with the Emperor, and that's control as well, regarding bliss or negative spirit, depends on how you look at it. Alcoholics Anonymous and 7 steps specifically came up, as well as American Airlines as the Chariot, the divine feminine. Affirmative action was coming up here too, as well as with the feminine within the masculine. And then African American also was coming up as the vehicle, seeing the Emperor's reason for bliss, well-being, or pleasant idleness. And then also was coming up the Archangels as 7 and seeing the reason for bliss. And also Enoch became Metatron. Something came up that talked about that. So when Lucifer versus Michael in heaven, later on in that talk, wherever it was from, Enoch becomes Metatron. So in Enoch, talks about Thoth and the Melchizedek energies. So they're all associated together. But I was also someone had talked about Thoth separating off from Metatron now, no longer being associated with Metatron, being separate. So just thought I'd put that out there. So the 7 archangels were coming up. Of course, Michael and Gabriel come up as the top 2, and Raphael, Uriel, and then the other older names, which I'm not going to go into because every religion has different names of the angels. But they represent the 7 days of the week. Ramiel was coming up as the thunder of God, which I always associate Metatron as thunder. So the Archangels 7 of the Chariot, right, because they're associated also with the feminine within the masculine, and seeing the reason, whichever sea that is, the ocean, seeing with your eyes, seeing with your Christ consciousness, also the yes or the if of the reason, the emperor, the control, of the bliss, and the nature of surrendering to pride, right? Because it is human to be prideful. So, I mean, don't feel bad about pride coming up, whether it's in a good way or bad way, right? Being proud of your family or your children in a loving way, or being too prideful because you're human, right? We all do that. That nature causes us to become prideful, that nature yields as return payment or commands, or being sick of pride as well. So we start here with the Four of Swords upright in the underlying energy. So we have the Four of Swords in the underlying energy. Let me clarify the picture there for you. All right, so the Four of Swords is the top card here with the mini cards on top. And this started at 9:09, which is a September gate there, which is also about endings with the 9, completions. And the Four of Swords upright, which is taking a break or a rest, meditating, praying, laying someone to rest or something to rest, but it's also about the 5D connection. Beneath that, from the bottom up, was transition upright, the Death card, the Ace of Pentacles reversed, the Knight of Wands reversed, the Tower upright, and the Five of Swords reversed. With death, endings, dark night, or transitions, and withholding or saving from the fallen angel, Knight of Wands reversed player, or perhaps they're just paralyzed by their passions, or fell off their horse in a tower event while juggling 3 and saving 2 for later. The internal war of struggling or stretching and growing to meditate, rest, and connect in 5D to take a break or lay something to rest. Sad, grieving, loss, or regret. The Knight of Cups reversed may be standing up to the Emperor reversed and stepping up to spread the word to the King of Wands reversed, or the Emperor reversed is the one messaging the King of Wands reversed about it. The Magician is manifesting with all their tools on board, as the Knight of Cups reversed may be jealous and may be hoarding their money or feelings and overworking or not working out, fully energized and are exposing the withholding and saving for a new life of their dreams with patient angel of a higher love at 5:30, or excuse me, 9:30, the Hermit and the Union. The Seven of Cups is upright here, seeing synchronicities and or too many choices, where the bird is now taking off the beaten path, stepping on pond stones and playing skeet ball or online shopping for the one. Watering the grass, perhaps naked, or perhaps a ripple effect. Or tributaries making their way around obstacles, like when a vessel gets obstructed, it finds a way around that eventually. Saggy or in Sagittarius, having trouble with a decision or deciding which one, with snakes and dragons and masks, oh my. With Scorpio upright and Aries reversed, Virgo or Gemini upright, Leo upright, Aquarius upright, and Sagittarius all upright here. The only one that was reversed was Aries. Patient angel or Gabriel perhaps, resting on break or meditation, and wow, it blew their top, their cover off perhaps, their crown or their mind, or Sagittarius is sleeping with Scorpio and exposing all, or Sagittarius is sleeping with Scorpio and Leo, or it's just the kids and connected in 5D while they were in bed with them. You deserve love, and beneath that express your love. Or Sagittarius or patient angel peeking in on the kids sleeping and they're doing anything but. Perhaps on break and they're all over the place with sudden events, epiphanies, or sexual exchange, or suddenly energized or happy as anything with sunshine or jumping on the beds, or a lightning storm where they get really excited and were sleeping but then suddenly woke up and got scared. So that could be a nightmare or a storm. Or saw an angel and someone's really happy as the archangels all came up. So someone might have literally seen an angel. Or just really happy that somebody's home. Maybe that's their angel. The harsh truth of jail, hospital, or rehab, or domination, and being released as the Page of Cups is unable to find a way of expressing their feelings or how to explain what happened to them. to the Knight of Pentacles reversed and the Sovereign reversed. And that can be two kids, right? Two dependents. It can be two people who work with you as well. But to explain what happened. Perhaps somebody's bidding on something romantic or trying to write a poem or a story about the Knight of Pentacles reversed, rejecting friendship or an offer of help, or just being stubborn, as the Sovereign reversed or dependent is no longer obsessing about hair cutting or about cutting cords. Seeking the unattainable and leaving another to die, or writing music like the Phantom of the Opera, with dessert or desert by candlelight. And that brings in the English patient, right? Candlelight in the desert. Or just the harsh truth about energy vampiring and getting off, or how to discuss this with your children if you got caught. Or just having a sex talks with the kids, but struggling for the words. And again, many of you, I'm sure, have experienced your kids walking in on you, so that happens all the time. I know my brother walked in on my parents when we were little. So 952 is the Hermit and the 52 of the Queen of Swords. Healing comes up here, and number 66, which is the Queen of Pentacles, and then personal growth with number 7, which is the Chariot. As the High Priestess is strong like the wind, and the Page of Swords reversed in negative self-talk, perhaps afraid to call or needing to swallow their pride. With Pisces and Leo upright, but Aquarius reversed, walking away from the Queen of Swords with the light and coming together, socializing or having a party, or the guys are not welcome here. Could be a sleepover here with mess and poop in the yard. And the throne, don't forget the throne. And someone may be a royal pain in the ass. And someone's had enough and they're walking away. And the movie that came up last night was a boy called Christmas, which was a very sweet movie. There's definitely some animation in it, but I don't really get into animation that much anymore, but I enjoyed watching this movie. It was about how Santa Claus came to be. It was very cute. So the Queen of Swords upright here, maybe having a sleepover party with games. So it could be an adult sleepover party of women. Shopping and lots of options and fun and sun, or synchronicities exposed to dependent healing, perhaps as or with the Queen of Pentacles here. Or social gatherings while on break or on rest. Or seeing synchronicities that energize them, or synchronicities expose a dependent or one's powerlessness in healing with the Queen of Pentacles, or mother and child. The underlying energy here mostly is moving to peace with the divine feminine in the 5D, or through an upside down world in separation or in disappointment, as then going forward after the read is recovering without peace, having to drive to families perhaps to break up a party or fight, and that can be kids having a party that's out of control too, with the Queen of Pentacles in a heated exchange or at the workplace, or not telling the King of Swords reversed on break, right? Because you're not supposed to bother them while they're on break. And this definitely makes sense that someone's having a sleepover party, right? Because the other parents aren't home, and then they found out there's a big fight or it's out of control, and then the parents have to get up and go to the other person's house to make sure everything's okay. And this was at 10:07, the 10 of the Wheel of Fortune, the 7 of the Chariot. The King of Cups may be embarrassed and walked away in a twist of fate, detoxing chaos and or attention or good news that's coming in with the Page of Swords about the Queen of Swords reversed. But the Queen of Swords reversed may not be happy, though, that the Page of Cups is upright and the Knight of Swords is upright, being loving and passing it on. The recent past here is the Three of Swords and separation. That can be heartbreak as well. The Ten of Pentacles, family, business, or community. Disappointment or heartbroken by the Knight of Wands reversed. Sharing with Scrooge, pain in the butt, or hoarding and betrayal, or ending pain in a twist of fate with the Queen of Swords reversed. So definitely coming up here, this could be where parents are splitting up and the child feels bad for the other parents, so they give them something. And then the family finds out and they get really pissed off. So Sagittarius, Libra reversed, and Scorpio is upright here. With the Queen of Swords reversed, may have Libra in their chart. They could be a Libra as well. With the Ten of Pentacles, family, business, or community. With the King of Wands reversed, ending with the Page of Wands upright. So there could be a problem between a father and child as well, because the child may have told them they were going to a sleepover when their parents weren't home. Or a family may be taking a child away from the King of Wands reversed, or a court ruling that's not in his favor. The family may be pissed off that the Knight of Wands reversed gave money that they were given to the King of Wands reversed, who didn't have much, and they maybe have addictions, maybe the reason why they don't have much, but it may be a child who was trying to help out a parent. Or the Knight of Wands reversed was sudden growth while they were sleeping or having a nightmare of war, or defending the King of Wands reversed to the Emperor reversed, or the Knight of Cups reversed to them both. And that could be their jealousy as well. And the foundation here is the Seven of Pentacles upright, which can be reaping rewards, but it can be the Divine Feminine's heart at work as the Queen of Pentacles, High Priestess, in a falling out, or that could be two separate people, in a falling out with a soul tie, feeling like they're falling for her. The karma was reversed here with poor judgment of the Empress reversed and the Queen of Swords reversed, maybe receiving a love offer from an egotistical performer, magician, and the Divine Feminine's heart reaping rewards as the Empress reversed is challenged by the Emperor reversed, who may be frustrated by his release or release from prison, and that could be a literal prison or a prison of his own making, with third party trying to end the nightmare, perhaps of no affection and forced to surrender, as the Page of Cups is upright, offering the Page of Cups upright's offering a loving message to detox the chaos of dark and angelic realms, standing up to codependent sharing with the King of Pentacles, savior of the Knight of Cups reversed, who surrendered to the Page of Wands and the Queen of Wands in a falling out with their lover or ex returned in need of help at 11:11, or had missed an opportunity to choose a different path without Aquarius reversed or needing to swallow their pride, and the Page of Pentacles reversed Taurus, committed to lover making a fool of themselves over the Queen of Pentacles reunion. The King of Swords reversed in a heated exchange with the Page of Pentacles reversed and the Emperor reversed about the Divine Feminine or Pisces or the world at large or the neighborhood, and coming full circle in seeing synchronicities or heaven in their eyes, and confused about an unstable home or move, with the Hermit giving advice or shedding light on the situation, with Dependent that's no longer strong-arming the boar and walking away after careful steps, with the Ten of Cups family to end the cycle, the nightmare, with being present and or a gift. Recovery or let back in after a fight or in a losing battle of slaving for the star or dreams or Aquarius, with no peace in cheating death and threatening to hold back announcements and or bad judgment, or else to just reply or reap your rewards and be on your way. And soon as the shadow reversed in detoxing the chaos and frustration of the King of Pentacles upright, who's dissatisfied or being arrogant, with defensive Queen of Cups who's upright also, just speaking her truth, taking down the field, focusing on heart and walking away to start over, with the Knight of Wands reversed falling short with the High Priestess and the King of Pentacles, or they played them both to get them together for the King of Pentacles now defending their honor, or two King of Pentacles here are playing. There's either two Pentacles here, or it could be the same King of Pentacles playing both sides, or one man playing both sides of the fence in order to diffuse the situation. The twin flames seeing themselves as the solar deity, as the sun, exposing all. The twin flames leading the way to the Page of Pentacles reversed or missed opportunity, and that could be a child in need of help as well, hanging out in disconnect or at a distance from the King of Cups upright, who's offering him a wand but was sent on their merry way. The Knight of Swords rushed in, recovering from the cold night, coming in with the truth that the King of Cups can't deny. Attraction, separation, and it is safe to love, and getting to know each other came up for the twins. It's time for the King of Cups and the twin, with the journeyman, keeps the child. It's time for the King of Cups and the twin, while the journeyman is kind of like being a bouncer over here, but they're not really a bouncer. The journeyman's keeping the child, the crowd, or the riffraff away while they can connect. Sunshine and exposure and happiness here. And around the twins, or how they're seen, is the Six of Wands, or the journey of the Page of Wands inspired by injustice of having no peace or no peaceful place to go. But they're inspired by that with new information that comes in, or able to go on to fight injustice now that they have more information, with Leo and Capricorn and Pisces and Cancer all upright, but Libra reversed. The block here is the Six of Swords reversed, in need of peace or a place to stay. Dark night is blocked from waking or working, or the Knight of Pentacles reversed may be on strike or being stubborn or refusing to work it out at 1133, which is justice and the Christ vibration, or standing up for oneself. Nature, surrender, and pride all come up here, with no more flirting and no more showing off, no more being a tease, unable to find humor or be aroused or comprehend, for that matter, the Knight of Cups reversed, who may be jealous, moody, or feeling rejected, or being insincere, may be jealous of a release, and so they withhold. The Grim Reaper withholding affections from the Page of Pentacles reversed, choosing to hold back an announcement or judgment, or needing to swallow their pride. Perhaps they spoke too soon or out of turn. The flame is doused by insincerity and no call, and not heeding the call or wake-up call to action. With higher self, the Queen of Swords reversed, in a falling out or negative past, with the King of Swords reversed, and the Queen of Wands upright here at the end. There could be Aquarius reversed, Cancer upright, Pisces upright, Gemini reversed, and Scorpio upright here at the end. Or there could be a jealousy here causing a falling out at 1144 between the Queen of Swords and the King of Swords, both reversed. They may have unhappy kids between them. And she could definitely be Aquarius or Gemini there at the end. The Queen of Swords reversed, or the King of Swords reversed. So they could literally be Gemini and Aquarius, or both, one or the other. But there could be unhappy kids here too, which are more in the emotional end or water sign end. At rest in the Divine Feminine's heart, sunshine, happiness in leading the way with success and good news, but disappointed about not heeding the call, their poor judgment, or challenged by the Emperor reversed, detoxing, and in need of peace or a peaceful place to stay. With the Page of Pentacles reversed and the Knight of Cups reversed, frustrated or missed their opportunity at 1155. So literally the 3 times I wrote on this page so far were 1133, 1144, 1155. And I didn't do it on purpose. It's just when I look at the clock is when I'm guided to write it down. So these 2 kids, the Page of Pentacles and Knight of Cups, frustrated or missed an opportunity, perhaps refusing to love, and their higher self, the Queen of Swords reversed, in a falling out with the King of Swords reversed. And then at 1156 is the Knight of Wands reversed, blowing their top or their crown, their cover, or their mind, or just a big sudden event or epiphany that they have, and kind of like the Grinch, where they grow 3 times that day, in a 5D connection apart from third party or group, or perhaps apart with third party or group, and connecting with the Divine Feminine in the E-Tower after an announcement or after having held back an announcement, challenged by the Emperor reversed and the Page of Pentacles reversed, with sunshine and happiness or full exposure of detoxing the journey or good news, but without peace, and a need to love, a need to ignite passion, with the higher self, Queen of Swords, and a falling out with the King of Swords reversed at 1203, which is the Hanging Man and the Empress. All right, so let's see what comes up with the Oracle cards. So let's see what comes up from the Metatron deck. I'm just curious to see what comes out after doing that big read. What is our takeaway from the messages from today? And it's 123:49 to 50 here. The Magician, the King of Wands, and then the 9 and 10 of Cups, which are great energy. And it's 4:08 on my clock, which is the Emperor and the Dance, or the Page of Cups and the Dance of the 8. Strength, manifesting of dreams, which can be the Emperor and his inner child, the Page of Cups, and the 8 of the power of the Emperor. Okay, that came right up. And that's the feminine energy, the water of Lemuria, and the dolphin energy of emotional well-being, and the 7 of the Chariot. the feminine is very grounding and helps things flow, right? Makes things more peaceful. We have, that's water, and then the yellow card came. There's, wait, how many cards want to come up? Okay, just 3. Okay, or 4. All right, so these 2 cards are coming up. The yellow of the solar plexus, reminding you to focus on the solar plexus, right, where your higher self comes in and connects with a direct connect up to the Golden Gate. And again, the dolphin of Lemuria and the feminine energy and your emotional side of well-being. And then these 2 came out together as well, which 36 is the Atlas energy of the inner child, hear and know me. So connect with your inner child, especially when you need balance, especially for the masculine with the King of Wands, 23. So it's saying to bring in some feminine energy when the masculine gets too heated up. And you may be able to feel that through your solar plexus, right? Because that's your higher self. And look what's at the bottom of the deck. It's that Golden Gate with Christ standing there waiting for you. So you can picture, imagine this. Once you get that cup in your solar plexus and you just resonate with it for a minute, then feel into shooting your energy up to the Golden Gate. Literally picturing this with Jesus waiting for you at the door, and just see what happens. All right, so let's see what comes up from the Animal Spirit deck. And the dolphin fin, as opposed to the porpoise fin, is very curved as opposed to straight. So I always associate very social behavior with the dolphin as opposed to the porpoise, who's more serious. So there you go. They may be more from Sirius. So that's funny. All right, so what is our takeaway? Came right up. There's that triggering energy here. We have the Panther of the trigger, right? They cause chaos and havoc. It's all dark. And then we have the unicorn, standing guard of the light, and the dear ones. I love those energies when they come up together because they so look like family with their doe eyes. And there's the wolf trying to understand. The wolf in this deck really cracks me up. All right, at the bottom of the deck is the whale who's exhausted. Okay, they're really struggling with this dark energy, or they're just getting up there in age and they're really struggling, and the energies that keep coming in. Okay, what's beneath it? Oh, there's a little bunny. So there's maybe a child with anxiety issues that someone's dealing with. And this can be the emperor and his inner child, or this could be the emperor staying with a child who has a lot of fears, and it's exhausting to them because they're a lot older. They can't handle the energy of a young one all the time. That's the underlying energies. Oh, look, the dolphin was beneath there. So there's the dolphin Lemurian energies, who's very compassionate, right? They have no problem. Like, that's a young person who's got no problems dealing with the scared child or bunny rabbits. Whereas for the emperor, might be exhausting, right? Maybe they don't resonate with that kind of energy, or maybe they're just getting up there and they're struggling with the dark energies coming up. So again, there's definitely those cards. That was underlying energy though. So what's coming up for you guys more though is this energy here. And there's a lot of this is very balanced energy. So if you're in this energy, you're not feeling the dark. The wolf is starting to learn it, but maybe they don't understand everything yet. So that's what I'm getting here. They're still confused about certain things. This is the one who gets it. These are the ones standing guard, able to stand in the cyclone because they're not affected by it. And then here's the cause of all of it, right? The difficult energy coming in. So we could read that one too. And you notice that the unicorn's not watching me, right? Because they're looking at me. But these 2 are looking at me because this one's still grounding, like it helps keep them balanced. And then for the wolf, they're still trying to learn some things, still trying to understand. And this one may not need to understand. They need to focus on dealing with this one over here, okay? Because they're already good. I'm getting the panther saying, look into my eyes, look deeply into my eyes. And I'm getting the green and yellow from the heart and the cup, right? Because the heart's connected to the solar plexus. It's like there's a joint connection there. I'm just really looking into it. And what I'm getting as I'm looking into this, as it starts to blur, is that the lower jaw goes away. It's not really there. Like it's all bark and no bite. Like the mouth is closed when I'm seeing it. There's no lower jaw here. They're just standing there looking. So don't worry about it. It's all talk. All right, let's go into the journey of love, see what comes up. So again, not everyone's meant to do different things, right? So if the old whale can't handle the scared rabbit or the scared child, the dolphin can. They got plenty of energy and they totally resonate with them. So somebody and something for everybody. But why is the whale sinking? Okay, these two are both coming up together. The blood dance, which is the 42 of the Two of Cups. So again, about the heart, the connection perhaps to the solar plexus, right? And the pumping of the two as one. With the shifting universes here. I told you there's like a big shift, like going the other way. So I just wanted to get the other cards that are coming up here. And again, this always reminds me of musical instrument and signs and symbols. The 7 of the Chariot, again, the vehicle of ascension and the vehicle of infiltration. And shifting gears. The heart's shifting gears. They're confirming what I was saying about the shift. That all of a sudden you're like going back to where you started from, but not going back in time, but back. It's like what I was getting is like the date of my birth reversed. It's like you're getting younger again. It's not like you're going back to the past, but you're becoming younger. It's very interesting. And then we have the space between the words, which is very two-dimensional. The 24 is the Queen of Wands. And remember what I said about how as our bodies get lighter and lighter, like there's more space between the molecules, that the spaces will be able to take some of that negative vibration so we don't have to carry it. Because the negative energy has to go somewhere because it's balanced. It's not ever going to go away. But where does that dark energy then go? And that's the message I keep getting, is that the negative space, which I brought up in looking at the map today, the negative space will be able to hold the energy. And also to read the space between the words, right? Like all talk, no action. Pretend like their mouth isn't open and just look in their eyes and see what's there. And it really diffuses the energy. Read between the words, and you'll see how flat it really is, that there's no dimension to it. And then these cards came out as well. The acceptance of the 55 of the truth, that there are fairy tales that come true. This is that, that imaginary woods, the secret woods, why am I blanking out on the word? And that's very contrasting energy. The mother prays. So the praying mantis energy comes up with this card, which is the woman who bites the man's head off. And then in contrast to the very sweet energy of romanticism and accepting of the truth, the devil energy comes up on this card as the shadow side of that. Right? The woman who bites your head off versus the romantic woman. I want to see why this is coming up here. So they're showing contrast here, right? Because you see how everything's more smooth here and it's more, sharp edges over here. There's a lot of contrast between these two styles here. They're very different. Like it's a big shift from this to this. And there needs to be space between when your gears shift. You know how they kind of unlock sometimes and you can't get the pedals going right away? It's very annoying when you're riding your bike. This is the same energy that's coming up right here. You need the space here for the gears to shift, because sometimes they don't shift smoothly from this combination to this combination. Or perhaps it's these two to these two, right? There has to be some kind of integration of them before it can shift over to the next grouping. And that's what I'm getting. It's like, imagine that gear shift slipping a little bit. I'm getting discord, right? So going from it's like 1 minute you feel the Two of Cups, and the next minute there's shifts going on that cause you to be confused. You don't understand what you just felt isn't what you're feeling now, just a minute ago maybe. And it's just, they're saying it's just the timeline's shifting. That it's that gap between when the gears shift, that you just need to kind of ride with it and go with the flow. And allow it to just fall back into place again. When it shifts back into the new realm, maybe going from this to this. Okay? And although this is the shadow side and the mother prays, it's also the higher vibrational colors of the purples and blues as opposed to the lower chakra system. So they may mean well, but sometimes they can go overboard with the shadow here. But this is very beautiful energy when it comes right down to it. And this may be a little bit more rough, right? Because you're dealing with the actual physical heart and these very literal adjustments and shifts and gears. It's interesting. The bottom of the deck for this deck is, again, Sweet Soul Rising and the 20 of Judgment, making decisions, but in a very innocent, etheric way, keeping it light. And after the King of Pentacles dealt with the breaking here. So he came up a lot in the read today. And maybe 2 King of Pentacles. But again, that could be him facing himself in a crash. And then coming out the other end with Sweet Soul Rising, going back into their inner child. Yeah, it's crashing in the heart. Between the blue and the red. See, look what's behind there. It's all the blue and the red. Of the coming together, and that's the Queen of Pentacles, by the way, in the heart of the moment, deep in the redness of the heart, the root of the red. The King of Pentacles coming up, matching the Queen in a tower moment, and coming out Sweet Soul Rising here in some kind of judgment or decision, or the need to swallow one's pride. Okay, so let's see. So the first card out was the Panther. Panther, he's definitely fire. Right, the Panther is annihilation of the unnecessary purging. So now we're talking about poop again. The Panther won't stand to see our growth or energy stagnate. Instead, it pounces into our lives and causes all kinds of havoc, with the ultimate intention of bringing us toward more fulfilling lives. It's unexpected, uncomfortable, and sometimes feels devastating, but after all the dust clears, it's easy to see the Panther's wisdom at work. We've all been through these experiences, and they've made us better people. Trust that the Panther's journey always leads to a brighter place. When they're in balance, they're brave and productive, but when they're out of balance, they're self-destructive. And again, this could be kids having a party at their friend's house. Or to bring back into balance, get rid of the unnecessary. Right? Clear things out. And then for this deck, the first card out was the 42 of the Blood Dance. The heart craves life and the blood responds. In relationship to each other, life happens. And so does SHIT. That's talking about poop. The desire and the action, the movement of cycles, drawing in and letting go, rushing to the center and pushing far away to the extremities, it is the cycle of relationship, dancing between self and other, into oneness and into individuality. So it is with human beings in relationship with each other and with human beings in the divine essence. Sometimes the heart of God feels so close, as though our own inner passion is the very blood rushing through it. And then we journey far, bringing our nourishment to where it's needed. To those who are cold and lonely, to the farthest reaches of our own dark self, that we may, if very brave, dare to love completely. Though we can be lonely for the warmth of the center then, craving that feeling of being home, soon enough we're called back to the core of the divine heart, and the cycle continues. Remember that you're always in this dance of life, and you never are apart from the divine. It is just that sometimes in our natural flow, it's easier to feel that divine presence than other times, and yet you're always the blood connected to the heart. This oracle brings you confirmation that you're connected to the divine source, to all that is. If you're experiencing a phase of feeling cut off from yourself, from your body, or from the divine, or even from your own feelings, spiritual connection, or intuition, be reassured this is temporary and part of the cycle of life itself. Soon all connection shall return with even greater warmth and nourishment, welcoming you home again with great love. If you feel you've been journeying in life and fear that you've lost your way, do not trouble yourself, precious soul. You are never far from the divine heart, and you will always be called home. Love's language speaks like sound of falling leaves, caressing wind to bear aroma sweet. You ask if I can love and measure true, and give emotions weight the scales do. Each tear releases more than words can say, expressing all my heart wants to convey. Make sure to drink your water, get your rest, get your joy, get your nature, and follow your guidance, your own guidance. Rise and be loved. Have an amazing day, guys. I'll see you soon. Bye.